It's your boy Sam back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're going to be going over and ranking our best Amethyst cards in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. We've only got 35 or so cards on this list. Now, why do we not have more? I just feel like the Amethyst tier is just not super great when it comes down to it. Like, even when we look at Evo cards, there's just not a lot of Evo cards that I even think are that great. And I don't want to just rank basically useless cards. So that's just another reason for it. Like, for example, an AMETHYST. Like, what is the point of me even putting him on this tier list? Like, nobody's using him. He's not good. Nobody's gonna go out of their way to Evo him. And so that just goes back to my whole point of I don't want to just basically talk for no reason. I want to give you guys useful insight on cards that actually are usable and actually are solid enough to use and play in my team. We're gonna start off with JxmyHighroller. And as we start with JxmyHighroller, I gotta be honest with you guys. I'm not a fan of JxmyHighroller at all. I know he's gonna shoot the ball well, but that's about it. And honestly, like, is his release that great? Not really. And so, like, I know people might be like, Ty, JxmyHighroller is a fun card to use, and I like JxmyHighroller. And all of that is cool. All of that is fine. If you want to use JxmyHighroller, by all means do it. He's just not a card you're going to have that much success with. Kenyon Martin up next. I don't necessarily love the release of Kenyon Martin, but he's going to play good defense, has a high enough three ball he can knock down shots. There's just not really many negatives with Kenyon Martin. You know, I feel like with him, the positives definitely outweigh the negatives, and that's why he is at B tier for me. Pat Bev up next. He's going to split the difference. You know, I'm going to go C tier. Going to play decent defense. The problem with Pat Bev is he is so undersized. Like, I wish I could maybe put Pat Bev a little higher, but he's just tiny on the court. You know, 6'1", I do believe. Release is fine, dribbling is fine, but he is 6'1". That's the big problem for Pat Bev. Derek White up next. You can hate me if you want. This card is fantastic, though. A tier still to this day. And it's crazy that he's A tier considering these cards, like his last Evo was at minimum over a month ago. I mean, NBA tournament battles. When was the last, when did the in-season tournament end? Like a month and a half, 2 months ago? Like, he has been that good, that man for that long. Derek White, absolutely elite, definitely deserving of A tier. And if you don't like Derek White, man, I don't know what to tell you because the card can get the job done at a very high level. Andrew Wiggins up next. Here's our first card that I'm not quite sure about with Andrew Wiggins. I mean, he's fine, I guess. But I mean, can I put him at C tier and be fine with that? Like, I don't know where else to put Andrew Wiggins. I mean, he's fine. He can play. It's just his release isn't great, and he's definitely not worth the MT. Austin Reeves, I'm gonna put him at A tier, especially if you get Austin Reeves with the duo, which I know a lot of you guys are like, really, Ty? You're gonna be like, what? But I'm just saying, he's gonna be a lot better with the duo with Rui Hachimura, which Hachi's good too. The deal for Austin Reeves is this. He's easy to get. You play a little bit of triple threat offline, you're probably going to get Austin Reeves within, 10 to 12 games. Doesn't take a lot to get him. And the card is really solid. Has a good release, super tough to guard. Very solid player in my team. Brandon Jennings up next. B tier. Like, he's B tier. The problem with Brandon Jennings is if you compare him to Derek White, offensively, Brandon Jennings is elite. I mean, he's one of the best offensive amethysts we have in the entire game, and maybe even the best. The problem with Brandon Jennings is he's only 6'1", and defensively, he's going to be an absolute liability. And so as much fun as I had running Brandon Jennings on, like, my No Money Spent squad series, knocking down 4-pointers with him, stuff like that, he's never going to play for me in, like, a competitive type setting. So for, like, triple threat offline, Brandon Jennings is fantastic. But if you're talking about, like, online modes, even, like, triple threat online, he is not a card I'd necessarily recommend. Cade Cunningham, our first S tier amethyst. Now, at the time I'm recording this, when I look at Cade Cunningham's price, he is 49,000 MT. So, I mean, look, you can sit up here and say, hey, Ty, is he worth that? I don't know. I mean, here's the deal. He's fine. He's got a good release. Like, he can play at a high level. I just don't know if he's ultimately worth that MT. Kobe White up next. I don't mind Kobe White. 6'5", decent height, decent frame. I just think I gotta go C tier. I don't hate Kobe White. I think the card is fine. You can run him and have a decent amount of success. It just comes back to the point of no defensive badges. I'll put him at B tier though. The release on quick, gonna do a lot of things. It's just the no defensive badges that I'm like, really? Seriously? Danny Ferry up next. I mean, D tier. Nah, he's got to be C tier. Look, if Andrew Wiggins is C tier, Danny Ferry's definitely got to be C tier. But to me, the whole thing with Danny Ferry is I had actually hopes for him to be a really good card, and he was definitely a letdown. Dante Exum up next, didn't live up to the hype. I'll put him at B tier though, just because he is a decent all-around point guard. The one thing with Dante Exum is you can't just go out there and expect to dribble. Like, he's not going to be able to dribble. He'll knock down shots for you, decent enough release. It's not as good as it was last year. It's decent enough, and he's going to play decent defense. B tier for sure for Dante Exum. David West, he's really solid. I'm going to go B tier though. If you want to go above B tier, I just think you're hyping the card up too much. He was one of our really rare solid rewards in season 3. I'm not going to hype him up as great, but he was a solid enough reward in season 3. If you got David West, he can still play to this day. DeAndre Ayton, I'm going to throw him at A tier. I like DeAndre Ayton. The problem is, if you didn't grind him in the Inferno set, 2K had the audacity to make him 21,000 MT. For what? Like, why are Amethyst 21,000 MT? It just doesn't make sense to me. I guess the bigger question is, why were rubies yesterday in the Pyramid of Power 31,000 MT? I don't know. DeAndre Ayton, still really solid A tier for sure. And if you grinded him out, you got a really solid card. DeMarre Carroll, I'm going to throw him at B tier. I don't even hate DeMarre Carroll. Plays decent defense, going to knock down shots. Again, the whole problem is he's in the Pyramid of Power set, and he's just not worth it. Like, he's just not worth it. If you got the MT to get DeMarre Carroll, he's probably not going to play for you. And that just goes back to the whole point of the set was just so backwards. Domantas Sabonis up next. I don't mind Sabonis. I'll put him at B tier. Look, the reason I don't mind Sabonis is he is 7-1. If you are 7-1 and you have that decent player amount of player build, I'm going to hype you up at least a decent amount. I mean, I'm not going to say he's the best center in the game, but he's 7-1, going to compete against some of those other bigs. Dwayne Wade with the duo, maybe A tier. Without the duo, B tier. And I don't want to hate on D-Wade because he's probably going to do some things for you guys on the court. When it comes down to it for me, like, how valuable really is Dwayne Wade? Not much. He's going to play some defense. Offensively, his release is just not good. Just can't hype the card up too much. Emeka Okafor up next. I don't mind him. I'm going to throw him at B tier as well. He's a different B tier though. Defensively, he's fantastic. Problem with Emeka Okafor is he just is not going to knock down shots for you. So it really is a preference base. Emeka Okafor is an interior big. Not quite as good as DeAndre Ayton, but the card is not bad in my team. Goran Dragic at this stage, I mean, I don't think he's better than Derek White. I said it in my video yesterday. Like, card's fine. You can use Dragic. He's going to green shots. But is he better than Derek White? No. He's B tier. Again, a fine Pyramid of Power card to pick up. But the problem with the Pyramid of Power is, again, you get him. You probably have MT to do so many other things. He does not play for you. And again, I was hype on Dragic heading into yesterday, but he just does not do enough, especially defensively for me. Zubac up next. I guess I'll go. Okay, I'm going to move some guys down. I'm going to move him down to C tier. I'm going to. Do I have any worthless players on here? I'm going to move JxmyHighroller down. I'm going to move some of these cards down as well. Look, it comes down to this, guys. I mean, I can't have all these players in B tier. Is really what it comes down to. Like, Brandon Jennings, I'm sorry. You can't be in B tier. Sabonis, I'm not even going to put you in B tier. Like, it comes down to this. I just have way too many players in B tier for my liking. At some point, I'm going to have to separate them out in tiers. And even Dwayne Wade by himself, C tier. With the duo, maybe higher. But by himself, I'm going C tier for Dwayne Wade. James Jones up next. I'm going to go A tier with James Jones. There's issues with James Jones, for sure, guys. He's 6'8", but defensively, he's not great. Obviously, offensively, the thing that makes James Jones great is that release and the Hall of Fame range. But again, defensively, don't get it twisted. The card is not great. Still 6'8", good frame. He is a solid guy to have on your squad in my team. James Worthy, he is B tier. I mean, I can't get around it. He is your bang average small forward in my team. Guy you can use, play, have a lot of success with, but he is so average in my team. Jarris Walker, he's good. I'm going A tier for Jarris Walker, and it's one of these things for him. Talk about all-around small forwards, you gotta mention Jarris Walker's name. I mean, his release isn't necessarily the best, but outside of that, what can the card not do on the court? Plays defense, defends at a high level, whether it's a small forward, point guard position, does not matter. Jarris Walker is fantastic. Jeff Ruland kind of stinks. And I don't want to sit here and harp on it because for a season 4 free reward, I mean, he's not that bad. But like, compared to some of these guys on the tier list, remember, these are the best amethysts. He's not great. Julius Randle, also not great. Some people might not hate Julius Randle, and I get it. Julius Randle's release actually isn't the worst. He can do some things on the court for you guys. For me, though, he is D tier. Yusuf Nurkic up next. I don't hate Nurkic at all. I'm going to throw him at B tier. You could even have Nurkic at A tier. I think the problem for me with Nurkic is I don't love his release. And for me, give me DeAndre Ayton over Nurkic every day of the week. DeAndre Ayton getting traded to the Trailblazers is one of the main reasons I do not run the Suns in play now. So again, kind of keep that in the back of your minds. Like, I don't hate Nurkic at all, but that is one of the main reasons for that. Juwan Howard up next. I mean, again, what is this card really doing? I'm going D tier. He just doesn't do a lot for you. Amethyst Kobe is fantastic. He is S tier. And there might be some people that are mad that I put Amethyst Kobe in S tier. And if that's you, if you get mad at me, okay, I get it. We can talk through things. We can maybe work some things out. The one thing I would say about Amethyst Kobe, you get him that duo with Shaq, he becomes absolutely elite. And even without the duo, I think he's S tier. So, I mean, complain if you want, but Kobe Bryant is absolutely elite in my team. Bron, even without the duo, guys, he's still Bron. I'm going to go A tier. You guys can hate me, but he is Bron with or without the duo. Obviously, with the duo, makes Bron so much better. Honestly, without the duo, he might be B tier, though. I'm going to do it. Because without the duo, Jarris Walker is better than Bron. So, I mean, B tier without the duo. With the duo, even better. Beasley, A tier. Beasley still to this day is elite, man. Has that Terrence Mann base. And if you have that Terrence Mann base, I'm going to put some respect on your name. A tier for Michael Beasley. Miles Turner up next. A tier. I mean, Miles Turner gets the job done. Plays defense, knocks down shots. There's just nothing really negative I can say about Miles Turner at all. I mean, what else can you ask of the card? Yes, maybe movement-wise could do a little more, but I do like Miles Turner quite a bit in my team. Swaggy P, Nick Young up next. S tier. He's got to be S tier. I mean, Nick Young is absolutely fantastic. Great release. Great offensively. There's just not many negative things. Yes, his defense isn't great, but that's the only negative to Swaggy P. OG Anunoby, A tier. As far as the 3-and-D guys, still, I'd take him over Bron. I'd take him over James Worthy, and I'd take him over DeMar Carroll. Why? Because he's got a release I'm comfortable with that's not super slow. And I think that's important, right? A lot of these releases, whatever, but they're pretty slow in my team. OG's is really solid. Shaq up next. I'm going to throw him at B tier. Obviously, with the duo, you're probably looking at A tier. Without the duo, maybe C tier. I'm throwing him at B tier, though. Shaq's still 7-1 and going to be a dominant big with the duo in my team. Without the duo, honestly, he's probably C tier, so I'll throw him right there. But again, with the duo, probably A tier, and obviously makes Kobe that much better. Trey Murphy, I haven't used enough of Trey Murphy, but I think he's A tier. So if I'm wrong on Trey Murphy, you guys can let me know down below in the comments. But based on his stats, based on his badges and animations, I'm putting the card at A tier, and I have no hesitation doing that. Vladimir Radmanovic up last, B tier. I mean, if you look at Vlad's stats, his badges, they're just not great. I know he's 6'10". I know he's going to do some things on the court for you. But is that enough? Like, I know his height's good. Is that enough for me to put him any above B tier? I don't think so. B tier for Vlad. That is going to wrap it up for our Amethyst tier list. I'm super eager to hear your guys' thoughts on this down below in the comments, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are gonna have some different opinions. Again, it's hard to rank some of these amethysts, especially when it comes down to, like, Domantas Sabonis compared to, like, Miles Turner. Like, I feel like a lot of people, that's gonna be a preference-based type topic. Pretty confident with my top 3, though. If you have others that aren't these top 3, let me know, because if you have others that aren't these top 3, we might need to have a talk. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're doing it. As always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.